These are Green Berets. This isn't a guy who just signed up for the army because he was down on his luck and he went and served in the reserves. This is somebody who is a Green Beret. And as his uncle said, if he wanted to create this massive bomb, he would have. And what we're seeing here is the activation, or at least a test run, on some of these super soldiers. Now you might be like, what is a super soldier? A super soldier, I will break down for you now, but I played this clip in a previous video where, again, the connection between super soldiers and Fort Bragg. This guy trained at Fort Bragg. The movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, which is based on a nonfiction book, even though the movie makes it out to be a comedy, talks about how these soldiers were trained at Fort Bragg to be super soldiers.
Was trained at Fort Bragg under a secret initiative codenamed Project Jedi. The objective of the project was to create super soldiers. Was trained at Fort Bragg. The objective of the project was to create super soldiers.
And again, while the narrative might sound alike to you, it might sound a super soldier. What are you talking, like a superhero? What is he, like genetically modified? Well, in a sense, yes. I mean, there's a lot to it, which I'll break down now. But you may remember this as well. I covered a couple of years ago. Russia was saying that it was losing to Ukraine because Ukraine has experimental mutant troops created in secret biolabs. There's a bunch of stories out there where Russia was complaining about super soldiers. So you have a connection between super soldiers and Ukraine, and we all know what the CIA is doing over in Ukraine. There's a direct connection between the CIA and America and our government operating with Ukraine. And for anybody out there that doesn't know about Russ Dizdar's The Black Awakening, the rise of the satanic super soldiers and the coming chaos, listen to this clip, and then I'll break down in more detail after about how this could potentially be done in our world today. But listen to this clip about what a super soldier is and his coming in contact with some of these super soldiers.
What is the Black Awakening?
It's related to the Red Horse prophecy in Revelation. It's related to 2 Thessalonians 2 when it says about the day of the Lord, the parousia. That day will not occur until the apocalypse of the Antichrist and the apostasia, the word rebellion or revolt. That's all really defined in the prophecy of the Red Horse. But here's where the term came from and why I used it purposely. When I started dealing with ritually abused individuals, then we dealt with military-oriented, highly trained, programmed shooters and assassins inside of them. When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone from Fort Bragg for quite a while and a few others. We were sitting in a lake, Conneaut Lake. They reached over and ripped open my shirt to see if I was wired, if I was wiring and recording them. And they were the most sophisticated satanic warrior type person. They knew 5-6 languages. They knew the ancient Twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through many human sacrificial things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said to me, you have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are out there. How many satanic, they use the term, chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian blood. We are waiting for our day. And when the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals and you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening, a multi-continental release of power to activate the program demonized, where they've weaponized the demonic powers to these super soldiers.
Are they waiting for a specific time to unleash their power?
Yeah, they are, because they have to do it at the moment the Antichrist is, like you read in 2 Thessalonians 2, that it's caught the echo, the restrainer is holding back the apocalypse of the Antichrist, the unveiling in his movement. So right now he's held restrained. Soon as he who restrains is removed, soon as that occurs, we have White Horse, the release of the Antichrist. Instantly, we have the release of the red It says the whole earth. Arene, peace is taken from the whole earth, and all of a sudden, it doesn't give the details, but all of a sudden, on a global scale, people are released to begin to, and the Greek word is svadzo, slaughter, begin to slaughter people. It's used of animal ritual butchery, to begin to slaughter individuals. That's exactly how they defined it to me back in the 90s. And we've heard this again and again and again. So that scenario fits the Masonic version of chaos before a new order. It fits Father Meridon from the Cathedral of the Black Goat, his book, The Devil's Bible. It fits that scenario too. So some of the oldest, darkest occultists, the idea of chaos first, a collapsing of everything so that a new order can rise, that's all by design. And we've been given the heads up in prophecy, but all prophecy has boots on the ground. It'll all eventually happen. So I do believe that millions and millions of these trained, programmed, altered, demonized super soldiers, whether we want to say it or not, they believe they're being raised to help bring the Antichrist in. When I was in England just a few months ago, their top guy that deals with SRA, Wilfred Wong, 25 years. So first time I meet him, I pull him aside and I said, listen, you've been doing this 25 years, yeah? I said, you know all about programming and demons, all that? Yes. I said, I looked right at him and I said, Wilfred, why are they here in England? Instantly, he said, they are here to collapse our government. They are here to help bring in and usher in the Antichrist and a new order. He didn't know. He already knew. That's true in Germany when we were in Germany, when we went to Wedelsberg Castle. That's true in Poland when we went there. That's true in Switzerland. It's true in Canada. So when we talk about our research in 38 years worldwide, there may be well over 100 million generations of them. And if even half, or even if 10% were intact, like say the United States, remember the shooter in Vegas? Look what he did. Look what that guy did. Okay, notice what would happen if 10,000 of them, or like Colorado Holmes, or like Jared in Arizona, what if 10,000 of them were released in 1 week? That's their plot and plan, and biblical prophecies ahead of that to say here is what is going to happen, and from that a global monetary collapse, and from that's all that chaos is coming. So Revelation 13, a whole new order with the Antichrist can come.
Wow. Scary stuff.
Yeah, can be. It's scary for the world. For us, yeah. We know no matter what. Yeah.
Bolden with the Holy Spirit. Yeah. So next question. This is a two-part question. First part: does SRA exist, and if so, how prevalent is it in society today?
Yeah, satanic ritual abuse, and I could say it this way: it not only exists. Satanic ritual abuse is inseparably connected to multiple personality disorder. All of society knows since the late 70s, and even DSM-3, DSM-4, those are the diagnostic manuals for psychology. They all know that all of a sudden, multiplicity started showing up everywhere. They call it DID now. So the secular world, they're registering, millions coming in for diagnosis on that. Now, they don't know how to handle the satanic side. So I'm going to tell you just straight out, after 38 years of dealing with it, not only is SRA real here in the United States, that there are millions of victims by design, that there's now generations of them. We deal with 65 and 70-year-olds. They're the first generation. Then we go to 40-year-olds and 20-year-olds. I got 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds we're dealing with. Because if you don't stop this somewhere, they do it to the next generation. That's by design. That's the way it's supposed to be for them. So, but it occurs in selection. It's generational. It caused and it's simply to say that they bring a lot of trauma to the child to cause split in personality, so that they can demonize and or begin to program. You're going to be a witch. You're going to be a conjurer. You're going to be a program shooter. All kinds of these things happen, and then they're raised in that system. And they're raised to keep all of that hidden down and just have kind of little Joey up or little Sally up. And they may not know until they're 15, 16. They may not know what's inside them till later on. But millions have already showed up at psych wards all across America since the late 70s to this day. We look at a child and automatically we're going to protect them, save them, guard them, whatever it takes. They look at a child, they'd eat it alive, they'd destroy it, they'd torture it. Got to remember that's their nature. And so if they could show more of their nature to a defenseless child, they love that. That's why some rituals are called demon revels or satanic revels. The younger the child, here's exactly what dark undergrounders have said to me. The younger, the better. And we never kill them right away. We prolong the torture. Why? Because we have to raise the energies, the terror, the fear, and then little by little letting some blood out, because blood is and all that torment. It's like, think in terms of rats and garbage. Smelly old garbage draws the rats. A ritual with all that torture, with all that pain, ultimately prescribed by the demons in the first place, it draws them. And once they begin to open the blood gate, that's what they attach to in the context ritual. Then when a child or a human is killed, that's when the demons are released to the practitioners. So it's all about their unsatiable hatred of God, anything they can do to harm humanity, harm innocence as an attack on God in a sense. There's no question in their nature, they don't shed a tear. They don't have any mercy. So they'll harm, and they love that as part of the entrance to come into this side. Here's the other side of it. We've been to Canada, Scotland, Geneva, Switzerland, Germany, Poland. They're all over there. We just got back from Scotland, UK, and we met one of the guys there, one of the leaders in the whole nation on the subject, and same issue. It stems from the original Nazis creating a master race. Wherever the Nazis went in the early 50s, rat lines all around the planet, wherever you see them going to escape, then you see the rise of SRA. So we need to rename this. SRA that's the tools to hammer this in and to augment these people and to bring the demonization and to create them. But really it is part of the master race development that started back in the late 30s. And Himmler's goal was to create 200 million of them. That was his stated goal.
You are 100% certain that there are 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters within the United States borders?
Well, Al-Qaeda says they trained and deployed 1,000 for this attack. First off, I think there's more than 1,000 Al-Qaeda members in the United States.
How old is this information?
I mean, it's ongoing. So the training's already done, right? So all the training info is now old because they trained all the Homeland attackers, if that makes sense. So like next week, you're not going to get info of a Homeland attacker probably at a terrorist camp because it's already done. So all this has been in the last year.
You said that you guys think that they've sent at least 15, Al-Qaeda alone has sent at least 1,500 people here in the United States.
Correct.
What do they plan on doing with them?
They have a 2025 multi-coordinated, multi-city plot to avenge the death of Osama bin Laden.
Okay, so I've watched you on podcasts. I've never heard that. Could you explain that more?
We're going to put a report on Monday, but essentially Al-Qaeda is actually who helped plan the Hamas attacks. The Hamas attacks is a dress rehearsal. So the Hamas attacks is the practice attack, and then the big attack is going to be in the United States and then in 4 countries in Europe.
Okay. You guys want to go home and load magazines?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking.
I hope a lot of people come into your shop and stock up. It would be smart.
I saw them trying to get as close as they could to Trump towers, and they had a plan to take out Trump towers all throughout America, golf courses, places like that for attacks. The Lord spoke to me and he said to me, "This is bigger than terrorists." I saw it was in retaliation for Qasem Soleimani, the man that was taken out in Iraq. I saw that man's face, and they said, "We have not forgotten his assassination." And they were coming against America, especially Trump, because of a retaliation for what's happened to him in Iran. And I saw this was a government. I saw 1,000 men, 1,000 men that came through tunnels underground, dark tunnels, drug trafficking tunnels, paid major money. This is a hundreds of $1 million operation that has been going on in the last administration, coming over the border for over the last 4 years of gathering of supplies, and they are here. I saw darkness in 10 major cities. Listen to me. I saw 10 major cities, and the why I call them 10 major cities is because 1,000 men divided into 10 was 100. And the Lord showed me 100 people per group of attacks, like I told you, coming out of the ground like ants. The Lord said this is not terrorist per se. This is an act of war per se. Do you understand? This is a government of another country coming against America, making it look like it's terrorist. So you will see in the days ahead a great shaking still to come.
This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Kodash, which are the true Hebrew names of the Most High Father, Yahweh, which is Hebrew for He is, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, which is Hebrew for He is salvation. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today were known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about Edom's Black Awakening, which he is starting to put out there in the media. You've probably started to hear a lot of talk about sleeper cells or terrorist attacks here on American soil, right? We just watched videos from the first video I put from The Nations Conspire, which is basically rebel uprising, or that one Christian guy who brings out some really good news, and he actually did a quick primer on what the Black Awakening is. When you look at the Black Awakening, it basically talks about, well, here, let's read it. The Black Awakening, which is the day the satanic super soldiers are awakened from inside of their host and wreak havoc wherever they are. In this twilight of human history, darkness burns its black flame. Soon it will erupt, and fear will fly as bloodshed begins. The Black Awakening will occur for those who served this long cold secret. It has to. It's the only way to give the world a desperate reason, a willing but painful reason for the need for a new world order, and for a leader who will rule with a power that only the ancients felt. And this is a book that came out I think in the 80s, but I've been kind of going over it a bit, and that video of that guy kind of giving an idea, or not idea, he was basically giving a summary of what this entailed and how he actually met some of these satanic soldiers. Now, real quick, when you see this, right, the satanic soldiers, where is it? Satanic super soldiers. This isn't some heavy metal looking, long haired, buff metal music listening guy, right? Some guy from fucking Metallica. No, this is what appears to be your everyday American patriot soldier, some Navy SEAL, your Sean Ryans, your all these type of people, right, that have joined Freemasonry or are part of these occultic systems which Esau is involved in. And the reason why they call it satanic is because, like the guy in the very first video says, these people, they practice witchcraft, right? They're wizards, all right? And all witchcraft, all that wizardry, all goes back to the satanic left side understanding, okay? It's all left side power, okay? So it's not that whole psyop, fucking Anton LaVey, Church of Satan with the red cape and red horns. That's all shit to blow it out of proportions. What real Satanism is your Carl Schwab, your Bill Gates, your Hillary Clintons, your George Bush's, the World Economic Forums. That is your true satanic system, okay? Basically the Edomite power structure. Again, and when I say Edomite, I'm talking about the so-called Caucasian and so-called Israeli races, which really they're just one group of people that descend from Esau, okay? These are the people that through either initiation, right, because these people have joined an occult society, or because they've been, satanic ritual abuse when they were young, and they have demons invoked into them that are now going to be activated. That's who these people are, okay? This is what we're going to be seeing, Akim, right? And right now, especially with that lady, Sarah Adams or whatever, she just happens to start to show up all of a sudden and go on these popular news or broadcasts, right, to warn Americans of the coming Al-Qaeda attacks that that they're going to attack because they want revenge for Osama bin Laden, which happened, fucking 20 years ago? It's all a false flag that Esau is setting up to attack who? You Israelites, you Negro, Latino, Native Americans. This is how they are going to bring forward their New World Order agenda. This is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. So these devils, though they appear that they're helping you out, right, by giving you this information, by giving you this heads up of this dangerous, activity that's about to come out, they're the ones who have planned it. They're the ones who have set this all up, okay? And why? Well, because they need to reset this system, and they can't simply just tell everybody on TV and radio, hey everybody, we're going to switch over to this new world order system, and we're going to do this, and it's going to require you to get a chip, and we're going to abandon all old money, and we're going to get rid of all religion. No, they can't do that. So what do they got to do? They got to shock the system. They got to bring forward such a devastating events that the people will beg for intervention from the ruling class, right? And in fact, let's hear it from these devils themselves, right? Right here, if you're unfamiliar with this is the letter that Albert Pike in 1871 wrote to the Italian politician Giuseppe Mazzini. Now, Albert Pike, if you're unsure, he is one of the most famous Freemasons of Esau's, whole Freemasonry systems. He wrote the books of dogma for the Freemason Lodge, and ultimately he's an Amalekite, right? But basically this guy is the, King Freemason and shit, right? Basically he's a king of Edom. And what his ass did is he basically spilled the beans to this Italian politician to try to get him on board in their New World Order agenda. And he explained how they were going to bring forward 3 world wars to ultimately bring forward this New World Order. Now we're going to skip these first 2 paragraphs, which cover the first 2 wars, and we're going to cover this last section. And basically the part here is when he's talking about unleashing the nihilist and the atheist. Okay, let's read it. It says, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agenter or the agent of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all of its horrors will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origins of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then, everywhere, the citizens, right, the normies, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, right, these satanic super soldiers, the Antifas, your liberal, blue-haired weirdos that are all fucking filled with demons, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Brought finally out in the public view, this manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So there you go, right from the horse's mouth. This is their plan, and this is what they're doing now. When you get into some of the occultic teachings of the Blavatsky lady, this old witch who was all into this witchcraft and occultism, she explained that they're going to basically cause a great cultural cataclysm here in America up until 2025, and then from that point on is going to be a massive shift and changes to society to the point where they are then going to be able to bring forward their new world order. This is Matthew 24:12. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And this is what we've been seeing, Akim, in these last couple of years, is that people they don't love each other anymore. Everybody is cold towards each other. Nobody wants to get involved with anybody. And this here is going to be a breeding ground for just the crazy violence that's coming about, right? And this is obviously, a cause of Esau's system and his effects upon the world, all the wickedness that he's unleashed, and all the results of people just becoming apathetical to what's going on. Now, what does this mean for us? Okay, what does this mean for us Hebrew Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline? Well, this means that we need to start becoming more circumspect. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to be aware of what's going on. We've seen from that attack in Louisiana, over there in Las Vegas at the Trump Tower, and all these crazy things that are going on, from the mass shooting at that nightclub in, I think it was Queens, New York. And there's just tons of things going on. These events of mass casualties are only going to continue. And that's because the Lord is bringing judgment to the world. And though it is Esau and his satanic super soldiers and his ulterior motives and his psyops and all his carnal schemes at work, it ultimately is the Lord's will that Esau is doing this. Remember, the Bible tells us that the wicked is the sword of the Lord, which he uses to punish the nations, and including us Israelites. Now, again, what this means, like I said, is that we have to be aware and be careful when we go out in public. We have to make sure that you're not going to these massive events. That time is over, Akim, right? Like the apostles said before, no clubs, right? What I'm saying is also no big events. You don't need to go to big, massive county fairs in Los Angeles, or you don't need to go to these big, New Year's Eve parties and city, downtown areas, right? If you want to have a little gathering with your family or your friends at some little obscure place, totally fine. But you don't want to be involved in these big events where Esau is going to be able to use as a playground for his wickedness. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Notice what it said in the video, that they are going to ultimately target Christians because they hate Christians. Remember, these are those Edomites, right? Those super militaristic Edomites who are atheists at the core, right? They may love God, or should I say they may say they love God, but the God that they love is the American God, right? The Cesare Borgia, the America First God, right? Which ultimately, when you try to explain to them the God of the Bible and their details, they're not about it, right? They're going to put you down, right? You try to explain that those Israelis are not the chosen people to these satanic super soldiers, then they're going to go fucking nuts, and they're going to think that you're the enemy, and hence they're going to bring that insurrection upon you. So this is why, like the apostle said, man, we have to be incog Hebrew, okay? We got to make sure that we start watching our backs. We got to make sure that you're not, putting yourself in harm's way, okay? You shouldn't get involved in these religious people that are here and, trying to push these Christian narratives, right? That time is over, okay? We're not here to try to convert Christians, right? We're here to try to wake up our people. If our people aren't waking up and they're getting stuck in their sins, leave them, right? That's where they're supposed to be at, okay? You're not going to fight against the Lord, okay? It is time to do triage, okay? Triage is where you assess somebody's wounds and you decide if they're savable, medium, or easy to fix, right? And the thing is it's now time where we got to do triage. And for those wacky Christians, those people are lost in man-made religion, those Islamists that just ain't gonna convert, that want to do nothing but just debate and argue the point, it's time to stick a fork in them, man. They're done, okay? Wipe the dust from off your feet and call it a day with them, right? Let the Lord sort them out, right? It's time to move on to the Achium and the Aquathium who are receptive to this truth, that want to keep learning, right? We're supposed to focus on each other, right? This is our circle, Achium, and this time that we're going into, it's a crazy time, right? Because these devils are making a move. Actually, let's get this. Verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Okay? So this is why, Akim, we have to make sure that we stay on our P's and Q's when it comes to, obeying the Lord, being in his good graces, so that way we could have that hedge of protection around us. All right? And by the way, once all this bullshit is over with, or coming towards the end, you're going to start seeing Amalekite devils like this devil right here, right? Larry Ellison, the guy who created Oracle. And if you're not sure what Oracle is, it's basically the databases which the government, namely the CIA and all these clandestine organizations, run their systems off of, right? This guy's a fucking devil, right? But listen to hear what he says. He says, billionaire Larry Ellison says a vast AI-fueled surveillance system can ensure citizens will be on their best behavior. You see, Esau, in his agenda, in bringing forward the nihilist and the atheist to bring on this social cataclysm, which is going to kill off many. Those who survive are going to have to then go through this new world order and the social credit system. If you want a sneak preview of what's coming, just look at what happened in Argentina with that Amalekite president, Javier Milei, right? They're touting his ass. And same thing with Bukele down there in El Salvador, that Palestinian sellout, right? He's not Latino, he's not our people, right? But the point being is that these are the new leaders of the new world order, okay? They're going to come in and they're going to be the solution. They're going to bring in what appears to be a good choice. Javier Milei, when he went in and he cut all these social services, he fired all these people, he cut all this fat off of the governmental system, what do you think he replaced it with? AI systems, okay? You now are being monitored down there in Argentina by AI, okay? They even have AI drone surveillance, right? AI now patrols areas in Argentina, okay? These drones that you're seeing flying around, they're more likely a test run for the AI surveillance that they're going to bring here in America. So when those devils, Elon and fucking Vivek, the Elamite, when they get done with America and basically chop it up and take it down, they're going to, mark my words, they're going to offer AI as a solution for a lot of the systems that have been allowed to become corrupt and over bloated here in America. So that way they could then offer their solution, and then hence you would now be in a AI digital prison system, a social credit system, which China has, India is initializing right now. They're starting to push it out, and you're starting to see also over in Argentina and in El Salvador with its Bitcoin economy. So let's get this. This is Revelations 18:23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. And that's the point right there I wanted to get in this scripture, Akim, to end this lesson, is that these devils, they are going to deceive the world, okay? They're going to bring forward a grand deception to ultimately put them in power and to kill off the undesirables. That means mainly you Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, and you Israelites that are mingled amongst the other nations, okay? This is why these devils are doing all the things they're doing around the world, from the wars, the collapsing of economies, the killing off of leaders, right, to the starting of fake pandemics, because they right now are pulling the wools, or should I say they're attempting to pull the wool over the eyes of the world, and a lot of people are falling for it. So either way, I just wanted to share this. Hopefully this video was edifying, so be careful, watch out, and pray to the Lord, and make sure to continue to ask for mercy and for protection. So let's give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Rakot Radash. Shalom.